Okay, so Friedman came in. He said, I have heard the Schenn one could happen at any time, the way he plays. Talked about Schenn missing the game last week, made both teams that are interested in trading for him and the Canucks go, hey, we really don't want this guy to get hurt before we can A, trade for him, and B, from the Canucks perspective, trade him and get assets for him. So this is really interesting to me, Chris, because last week we heard Ben Hankinson, the agent for both Brock Besser and Luke Schenn, go on Donnie and Dolly, friends of the show. Don Taylor, Rick Dollywall went over there to Donnie and Dolly, and he spoke about
Don Taylor, friend of the show. Rick, haven't seen him in a while.
They wished me a happy birthday. That was very nice of them on the show. That was very nice. Anyways,
want to talk more about your birthday weekend? Come on, man.
Anyways, what I was saying is Hankinson went on that show, and what he said was, Luke wants to be a Canuck, and he, he's always wanted to be a Canuck, blah, blah, blah. He's talking from that perspective. Yeah. And he said, we haven't really had conversations yet in terms of whether an extension could be signed or whether a trade could happen. What I found really interesting, Chris, was that the agent himself, Hankinson, said the Canucks would kind of be crazy not to trade him because they could get assets for him.
You know what? I thought you were going to mention, because the other thing that he said in that interview was like the Canucks circling back in the offseason.
Exactly.
Right?
and that's what I was getting to. Exactly.
Yes. This is something that everybody wishes could happen. And I think it's something that's been talked about a lot. And people are like, you trade him, you sign him later because he likes it here. The fact that the agent actually brought it up, I think that's huge in that situation. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, you're right. Like, they got to, Schenn's got to get an opportunity to go somewhere on the cap hit that he's at, what he can bring to a team. There's going to be teams interested. What the two teams over here in Boston and Calgary.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, that was the interesting thing that I heard from Friedman was like, everybody knows what the cost is going to be. Everybody knows who's interested in this situation, who's in on this trade. It's just a matter of now, I think a good spot for the Canucks, because the way that Friedman said it, of like, everybody knows who's in on him. Everybody knows what the return's going to be. So for the Canucks, from my perspective, if you're looking at this is perfect, right? Everybody knows who's at the table. Everybody knows who's placing bets. Canucks now can take the biggest bet and walk away with that with a trade for Luke Schenn. Maybe they are getting a second plus, right? Because that's the talk. 3rd round pick, 2nd round pick. You're getting something around there. Imagine if now that everyone's at the table and talking about it, you get a 2nd round pick plus. Come on. You got to take that and run, man. You got to take that and run. That's a good boost to the prospect pool. Look what they just did with the 2nd round pick, Ratu. We'll talk about him later. He's on the show. We got some clips from Ratu later.
The player's agent was saying it would be crazy for the Canucks not to get assets when they're not a playoff team. Because, he said, the same reason that the Canucks would want to keep him and would like to re-sign him is the same reason that a bunch of contenders want to trade for him, right? He plays hard. I'm not going to get into it all. He's got the veteran leadership, all that sort of stuff, all those intangibles that you can #win with in the playoff. Quickly here, Luke Schenn, courtesy of Brendan Batchelor. Neither of us went to morning skate today. Brendan Batchelor tweeted this out. Schenn talking about the trade interest in him. A couple of years ago, you're just trying to be wanted by anyone. Now you're at the point where you're wanted, and it's a compliment for sure, but you want to be wanted. For me, it's always been to be wanted in Vancouver. That from Luke Schenn. And hey, you think about where this guy was. Remember how the Canucks originally got him? It was they traded DJ MDZ, Michael Del Zotto, and a 6th round pick to the Anaheim Ducks to get Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn was riding the bus in Abbotsford.
You could call it it was a Corey Bantic situation he was in before he got traded there. Luke Schenn. You don't know what the word means of the day, so